This is Jay Michaels, and here we are at Phoenix FearCon. Now, it's not just Phoenix FearCon, it's Phoenix FearCon Boom X. This is the 10th anniversary of Phoenix FearCon, and this year is a spectacular one. We have over 36 guests that you're meeting and greeting and having a wonderful time, including Bill Oberst Jr., Terry Alexander, Fred Williamson, and Reggie Bannister. Lloyd Kaufman is getting the Reggie Award this year, and there are another 24 guests that are going to be in that audience. And we have films this year. We are premiering about 36 films as well. Amazing works. And from what I have been told and from what I've seen of the films, this is one of the best selections of new films of the genre that I have seen in a long while. And I'm thrilled that I have with me 4 amazing filmmakers who have been part of this festival, and their movies are being shown now. Gentlemen, it is great to see you. It is great to cyber meet you. How are you?
Hey,
Doing good.
Good. All good.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, the things that I'm really amazed at in terms of these new films. Now, growing up, I'm a man of some years, and so I remember the Universal horror movies. I remember the Hammer films. I remember all of that, and I remember it was always, there was a limit to the imagination because film censorship was what it was. When a Hammer film was daring, you got to think about it from today's standards. But your films are very daring. Please introduce yourselves. Tell me about your films. Let's start. Dark Hoffman. Oh my God, that's a great horror film director's name.
It is.
Dark. Tell us about you. Tell us about your film.
I've been a fan of film since I was so young, and I wanted to get into special effects. So I started when I was 17, working my way as my career doing visual effects. I wanted to make my own films, and I did in college, and I studied all the famous directors like Kubrick and Coppola and Spielberg and Orson Welles, and I wanted to get my own style. So my friends and I made all these little student films, but none of them I kept, so I don't know where any of them are. So years and years go by, and I had stage 4 cancer, head and neck cancer, which I'm still going through reconstruction surgery. When I lived in LA, and we decided to move to Michigan to live in my mother's house and take care of it, and go to U of M for my surgeries. And in that time I was in the hospital, I wrote a Star Wars fan film, which we shot here in Michigan. And I thought, okay, that was fun, but let's do something original. So driving around the woods and all these hunting shacks, there's got to be a story behind, something creepy. Because every time I drove past them, there's something creepy about them. So I started writing the story about a hunting shack, which turned into this Lovecraftian tale. And we wrote a script, and I shot it and directed it and edited it, and now you have it.
Wow. All right. I have to laugh. I get lost very easily driving. That's why I have a GPS. I can't go to the bathroom without my GPS sometimes. And there are many times before I had it, when I would drive around, I would go white knuckled through darkened areas like that. And my wife would always turn to me and she'd say, Leatherface is not here. No, we're not going to Camp Crystal Lake. Stop it. We're in Upper New York. Stop it. So I can imagine, you got my vote on how creepy it is going through such areas. What's the name of your movie?
The Shack. It's an atmospheric thriller.
Atmospheric thriller. Love that. Love that. And it's interesting you're calling it a thriller. Horror movies these days, I'm thrilled to say, are no longer relegated to the B picture status that they were. Horror movies win Academy Awards. They have these amazing actors in them. They're a really respected genre. So to call it a thriller, an atmospheric thriller, puts it right up there with so many. And I think that's great. I wish you all the luck with this, and I wish you all the luck and everything with your surgeries and everything like that. You are really to be commended. like I say, this is a time when you think you just sit and be quiet and that's it. But no, you went out and made a movie during this time. And I really respect you for that. May good things follow you in terms of this and many other things. Well done.
Also, in the last 7 months, I've been working on a haunted asylum here in Michigan as well, building sets and props for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
A haunted asylum. I remember the Haunted Mansion in Long Branch, New Jersey. This is how I knew I was a horror movie lover, because I went there with all my cousins, and they were all scared. They were crying. One cousin had to be removed because she was going to faint. Me, I'm sitting there going, ah! So I knew there was something wrong with me. Good for you. Good for you. And that name, dude, Dark Hoffman. No, you're not going to make rom-coms. Sorry.
No.
And let's go to a sci-fi sounding name, Michael Squid. Mr.
Whoa.
Squid, tell us about your film.
My film is called Dice, and it's about a cursed object. It's a guy struggling financially and stumbles across a cursed pair of dice. And yeah, things just escalate in terms of the tension each time he rolls and the benefits and the rewards of this spiral that occurs. So.
I love cursed object films. Why'd you do that? Why did you create that? What's the basis of it?
It's just I write a lot of different short horror stories. I started as a short story or horror story author, but I've started adapting my films, and this one I just kind of enjoyed the mystery of it, and then the revelation when you realize what's going on and how it actually affects the people involved, and then it packs a punch in the end. Kind of not so much a moral tale as much as a pay it forward type of situation. So
interesting, very interesting. It's great that you chose dice, because the whole dice are scary. Dice are scary no matter what. When you're rolling dice, even if you're in a little board game at home, damn, am I going to go back 5 spaces? Am I going to lose? Whatever. That's the minimum. When someone says rolling the dice, that's such an image. That's such a scary image, no matter what. So to put it in a horror film, beautiful. You also, you're a man after my own heart. There was a TV series in the 80s called Friday the 13th, the series.
Oh, I watched that.
It was great. It was great. It had nothing to do with Camp Crystal Lake or Jason Voorhees. It was all about this antique store and the cursed objects in it. And every week there was the thrill of like, oh my God, what's the object? What's the curse? What's going to happen? Wow. Okay. So, your movie has to be on my list there, because I love the notion of the cursed object. I love that. My mother was tremendously superstitious, so we always had little luck charms around the house, and we'd spit 3 times and turn around and all of the noise. And I work in the theater where you can't say that Scottish play in the theater. So superstition and curses all over the place. Good for you. Good
Thanks.
for you. Is this your first film?
This is my second, actually. My first film was called The Chrysalis. It came out last year, and it did pretty well in the fest, which were all virtual fests.
I know.
And yeah, but it did well. My first film actually won a couple of awards and stuff. It did a lot better than I was expecting, so that was pretty nice.
That's great. Horror movie?
Yeah, horror movie as well. That's more of a body. I like body horror is really my favorite. So they're both kind of body horror in their own ways.
Excellent. So. Excellent. I'm so happy that there are filmmakers now who says I'm a horror film director. I write horror films. I produce horror films. Again, I remember the good old days where it was like I'm doing a horror film, and someone would say, "Why?" No, now it's like I'm doing a horror film. Yes. Yeah. Good for you, man. Good for you. Much success. This one's going to win awards also. I want to hear all about that when it happens. Let's quickly transport ourselves to Chris Kang. He is in Shanghai right now. And ladies and gentlemen, it's about 3 a.m. there. So before this poor man falls asleep on me, let's find out about his movie and what's going on there. Chris, welcome. Tell us about you and your movie.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, my movie is called Escalation, and the story how it came to be is quite interesting. I've been working in Asia for like many years as a martial art actor. So my specialty is doing action, choreography. And then after a few years, I kind of figured out maybe that this wasn't really what I wanted to do, even if I loved it when I was young. And horror has always been my biggest passion. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop, like throw kicks, and I'm gonna step behind the camera and try my hand at directing a horror short film in this case. obviously budget wasn't that much, and here in China it's hard to shoot like horror films. So I was kind of like in a tricky situation. So I thought like, how can I make something that is cheap but still intriguing, still like scary and gory? I like gore, like body horror as well, like Michael. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna use myself as an actor, one room as location, and a villain that is invisible. So the villain, you cannot really see it, it's just a voice. So it's something very new, something very fresh. And I say, okay, I'm gonna do it. I called some friends. I say, guys, I need to shoot this. Let's try to make it as best as possible. And that's how it came to be. And the story is like, I wanted to deliver something thrilling, but at the same time with a sort of meaning. So I play this character, which is like a sort of like an asshole, like a rich guy that thinks he's untouchable. You know, he's just like a very, very toxic, like a classic douche. And he's cooking in his home, and then a friend calls him and say, hey, you promised someone else that you would help them, and he's like, you F you all, I don't want to help anyone, I'm just me and myself and I. And then something happened to him that shows him that even if you think you're untouchable, maybe you really are not. So it's like a very kind of, as I say, very hard to explain. I don't want to like ruin the surprise, but let's say that his home ego in the end destroys him. That's why it's called escalation. It escalates from a nice evening to something like gore, this invisible force that kind of like plays with him, and it's like a pretty crazy movie, I have to say. And it came out pretty all right to be just like done on a short budget, small budget, and like a small crew, but it's all right. So
I'm so glad you said that. Firstly, you're quite brilliant right there, because this man thinks he's untouchable, and what kind of creature is coming after him? One that's untouchable. So you have a great irony within your movie. I think that's really
exactly
excellent.
So there is one line, when this thing that you don't know what it is. Maybe it's his own conscience, maybe it's a demon. You don't really know. And there is one line say, "Oh, okay, you wanted this, right? You think you're untouchable. So let's see now that you cannot touch me. How do you gonna stop me from hurting you?"
Wow.
So
Oh, that's
like
very cool. Darren Mcgavrin, who did the Night Stalker series and the Night Stalker films, the TV films of the 70s and 80s, which I adored. He had the philosophy. He said he's never scared of the guy in the rubber mask, but what makes him terrified is when there's a knock at the door, and he goes to the door and opens it, and no one's there. He slams the door, and there's a knock again. He said that's really scary.
Something that you don't see is the scariest thing, And then my short begins like a sort of like a parody on the slasher film. So this guy's watching a slasher movie on TV, and he's talking shit about slasher films. So I'm kind of making fun with it. And then the second half is totally changes style and something you don't really expect. So, I mean, when you watch it, I hope you like it. Pretty crazy.
One of my favorite lines in of all films, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. When Bud and Lou are being chased by the monsters, at one point someone runs over to them, and he says, "Hey, you don't believe in Frankenstein, right? Well, here he comes!" And he runs away. And it's a great funny line in that. But you're basically saying the same thing. Oh, you don't believe it? You don't think it's going to happen? Guess what?
Exactly. Guess what?
Very cool. Very cool. And that's very smart. If you're talking low budget, what's the best monster? The one up here.
Yeah, exactly, the one up here. That's the solution that I found to my lack of budget.
That's great. That's great. And please, budget. What's a budget? This is film. Film and theater. Money. Sorry.
I mean, as long as you have like creativity, budget, you can always find a way to make things work. So
as long as you have a credit card so you can buy your cast dinner, I think you're in great shape. Then,
oh yeah, as long as you pay dinner and coffee, so they don't want to sleep on set.
That's what it is for me. Is there a sandwich? Okay, I'll do your movie. So we're good. Great, good. I look forward to seeing that. I love that kind of terror movie. I get creeped out easy, so you're going to creep me out for sure. Looking forward to that. And your accent doesn't sound Shanghai. It sounds Italian, from what I understand.
Oh yeah, but I'm from Italy. I live in China. I've been living here for many years, but I'm from Italy. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. So you're flying home to Italy very soon.
I'm flying home tomorrow. Exactly.
Wow.
This interview, I sleep a few hours and then back home.
My God. Well, then we better hurry up before you sleep on us. There you go.
Yes.
And before he gets into an accident, let's speak to Alex Montilla. Alex, you're of course the millionaire of this group because you're being driven around in your limousine.
That's right. I'm being driven in my Ferrari right now.
There you go. So for this exclusive interview, Alex, how are you? Tell us about your film.
I'm well, thanks. My film is called Broke Up, and it's okay. I'm in this group of filmmakers, and we basically every 2 months have to make a horror movie that's 1 to 10 minutes long. And if you don't, you owe the group $100. And it can be one shot, it can be, no budget, big budget, whatever. It just has to be horror related. And so I wanted to shoot something with some friends, and I got this equipment for my phone. This is before the the cinematic mode and all that, where I could have depth of field on my phone. So I shot this whole movie on my phone, and the basic premise is it's this girl who's going through a breakup, and you're not really sure if she's being stalked or if she's psychologically disturbed or what. It's short and sweet and quick, and it was really just an experiment to use my phone and the equipment I had bought over the year and see what I could come up with. And I'm proud to say it turned out well enough that I submitted it to some festivals, and here we are.
Because you're part of a group that says you got to make a horror movie every month.
Yeah, it's really funny because I like horror movies, but I'm not really a horror director. But I now have like 3 horror films in the festival circuit because I made one, and the guy asked me to join this little group, and I was like, well, why not just go make movies? So it's been a fun excuse just to go make films, and doing them mostly on my phone, which is something I never in a million years would have ever thought I'd be doing.
I'm absolutely blown away by that. I can't remember the name of the movie at this moment, but there is a movie, and it's based on a true story. So instead of me trying to grasp for the name of the movie, I'll talk about the true story. There was one point where there was a party between a group of poets and playwrights. This is going back to the 1800s, and they, on a dare, they said, okay, let's write
with Mary Shelley and Percy and all that. Yes,
thank you. And let's write horror stories and see what we get. And what came out of it was the foundation of the story of which Dracula was based on, from Dr. Polidori and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So wow. So you're in good company when we say on a dare you decided to do a horror film on your phone.
Yeah, I've done 2 of them on my phone now, I've really done 4, but 2 that are good, and they've turned out surprisingly good. Like it's effective if you have a decent enough idea and friends who are willing to go do it. It's pretty cool.
And I get a kick out of your title, Broke Up.
Broke Up, yeah.
Broke Up. Because we all worry about our reception and our connection with our phone and our Wi-Fi, and we could break up.
Yes.
If it doesn't work. So there's another of a title.
That's right, because I shot it on my phone.
On your phone. I saw a commercial not long ago where they showed this kind of iPhone where you can film movies on it, and I was like, no way. And
that's the new phone, yeah.
Wow.
Which I actually have, and I'll be honest, I've messed around with the cinematic mode. I bought it specifically for that, thinking it would replace my equipment. And it works pretty well, but the equipment I have is very cool. And I use real lenses on my phone with a depth of field adapter made by a company called Beast Grip. And with it, I'm able to, use lenses and pull focus and all that stuff. And it's traditional filmmaking. You're just doing it on your phone. But now that you can use ProRes and you can, shoot in log and all that stuff, we're getting closer and closer to the point where, it's not going to be that much of a novelty anymore. Like we're almost at the point where someone says I shot a movie on my phone, and they go, yeah, so.
Somewhere Steven Spielberg's going, shoot. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me retire now before it's too late here. Let me do.
Let's go ahead.
No, I was going to say, let me do West Side Story and then retire, because that's it. Everyone's going to be on their phone.
Meanwhile, Steven Soderbergh's, like I told you, because I think he's done 3 movies now on an iPhone.
Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible.
That's fun.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking to you. I'm really excited about your films. There's going to be a full schedule, and it's going to be online and everything, so everyone can know exactly where to see their films. Ladies and gentlemen, you go to phoenixfearcon.com. That's phoenixfearcon.com. and to learn about all of these and the other more than 20 films in this festival, and to learn about the multitude of guests there. And those of you in Arizona, hey, come looking for me and tell me that you saw this, and I'll personally introduce you to as many people as I can. Let's really make the most of this, and let's really cheer on amazing filmmakers like we have here. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I wish you the best, and I can't wait to see your movies. I can't wait to hear all about it. Keep in touch with me when you win awards, when it goes some places. Please, please, please tell me. More. Give me more horror movies, please. Give me more horror movies. Congratulations and all the best to you. And Chris, go to sleep. And I look forward to hearing more about your films.
Okay. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.